How's everybody?
Just fine. So good, you guys. Oh my god.
Every day is a living nightmare, man.
No, not a living nightmare. Why on earth would it be a living nightmare? Is it because all the games that have ever been made or will be made have been delayed? Is that why?
I mean, that's
Pretty
part of
much,
it.
yeah. A lot of depressing announcements this week, yeah.
Eh.
Yeah.
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 It could have been. Yeah. I expected it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
Well.
last year was the year that we decided to discover that crunch is a thing and it sucks donkey donks. And so now they're trying as hard as they can to avoid any fucking horror stories coming out from their former employees after a project is finished. So yeah, delay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Press X to Podcast. It's the podcast from your friends at Cog Connected, where in the year 2020, we're here with episode 3.2. This is the week of January the 20th, 2020. 2020. If only there was 20 months, then we could have 2020. James Paley, tell me about the number 20.
It's a nice, neat, even number that satisfies a deep, primitive part of our monkey brains.
Rhett Waselenchuk, tell me about the number 20.
I pretty much echo James's sentiments about 20. Nice, even,
no,
round.
I don't. Oh, I can't take that. I need a new 20 fact.
20. Man, I don't know.
It's got two tens and four
2 tens,
fives.
yeah.
Just divide it endlessly.
double
That's your
down.
20 fact. You get 100 of them.
100%.
Not divisible by 3.
Yeah.
The number 20.
Are we referring to this as the 20s now? Are we in the 20s?
Oh, it's the roaring 20s.
Certainly.
Roaring because we've delayed all the games and there are uproars.
Yeah, everybody real mad. And they'll stay that way forever because people love to be angry. They love it so much. They don't know what to do with themselves unless they're mad. Bringing it home. All right.
But what is
Let's
it
be
with people
honest,
that just
though.
wake up mad? How do they wake up mad? What are you
Maybe
up to?
they get like a special bed where when you sleep in it, it stabs you randomly with needles. Or like the temperature fluctuates wildly, or their weighted blanket is actually just a giant black garbage bag full of broken glass, and then they roll out of bed and they're like, "Arrgh!"
You telling me you guys do not have stabby beds?
No, man.
Mine's pretty rough, but it's not stabby.
I thought those were just like the norm now. I guess. Okay.
Listen,
I'm gonna look into that.
You go to Sleep Country and you tell those motherfuckers to trade in your pillow made of glass shards for one made of foam.
Memory foam?
Just straight up foam. I thought you were gonna say ground up unicorn horns and fairy dust.
No, that's the drug that the super angry people are craving. They're in withdrawals. That's what
Oh,
I've
shit.
decided now.
I'm in way deeper than I thought I was. But anyways, video games, none of them are coming out.
Yep, see ya. We'll see you next year, everybody.
Yep, peace 2021, that's when everything is going to be delayed till. Why don't we just talk about that? Because that Final Fantasy VII delay, we fucking called it, boys.
Mhm.
We did. We fucking called it.
Go back and listen. It's all there. Did they give a new release date on this one?
April 10th.
April 10th. Okay. So
Which is
not as
pretty
bad
much
as some of the other
precisely,
ones.
but like precisely that month that we were talking about where they could delay it and not get in the way of Cyberpunk, which then therefore was also delayed.
I feel like there were some phone calls laid between offices. You know what I mean? And there was some planning on this. Final Fantasy, they confirmed their delay only when they knew Cyberpunk was also being delayed.
Rhett, I would be shocked and delighted to know that any two members of either team have ever met or contacted one another. That would tickle me pink.
Yeah. Right? One can dream.
One did. One is doing it right now. Good for
Right?
you, Rhett. Dream big.
In the future, there will be one developer, and they'll be doing games for all systems.
In our future cyber dystopia,
Yeah, that's
no
right.
longer will there be a building full of the most Polish people and a building full of the most Japanese people, never to meet, never to cross paths, to make entirely different experiences. No, there should be one experience.
Yeah, exactly.
A game
Way down the
about
line.
broken glass in your bed.
Yeah.
I'm talking when Stadia actually works properly.
Fuck that. That's never happening. You know. How do you guys feel about delays? Honestly, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what it is, but truthfully, like Cyberpunk is by far the game I've been waiting for the most. For the past year at least, and yeah, whatever. Time goes by so quickly. As I've gotten older, I've realized time goes by so quickly, man. It'll be September in the blink of an eye.
Also, if they didn't delay it and just rushed and put it out, it would just be unplayable until September anyways, so it's not like we have a fucking choice.
Yeah, right. You're right. You would just get 4 months of patches to get the game running up to speed.
I mean, there's not necessarily a lot of games filling that space, which, I don't know, usually you can count on a few dozen Ubisoft titles to come out between February and May.
Yeah.
But not this year.
I think after taking the beating they did, Ubisoft is starting to kind of pull back and reassess. And good for them.
I'm just waiting for Animal Crossing to get delayed again.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they've been delaying it for years, and so why should it come out this March?
Because, I mean, good God, how much tweaking could it possibly need? I've seen the screenshots. It looks like the same Animal Crossing people have been playing for 15 fucking years. Are you telling me that they're gonna go in there and be like, we're building an entirely new engine to make these nasty little polygonal citizens the same as we did back when fucking Bush was president? I don't get it.
They're expanding on the loan system, so now there are going to be loan sharks, and they will come and literally break your legs if you don't pay them. I've heard that's been taking them. It's been.
Yeah.
Tom Nook's cousin Tony Nook shows up with a 2x4, and he takes a few teeth. Let's just say,
100%.
I play that game.
Yeah, exactly. For you motherfuckers that play Animal Crossing and like abandon your towns for a month, don't even bother coming back. It's just like a wasteland of blood and
no,
bones.
Man, it'll turn into the projects that'll just be like hotels bought up by like local gangs and like a thriving prostitution ring.
A lot of shoes on power lines.
Yeah.
KK sliders hooked on meth.
Man, I'd play that game.
Wouldn't we?
Yeah, man. Animal Crossing. I don't know. They could come up with some kind of whimsical subtitle that would, hide the tragedy that's behind the mask, and make it seem good, but really it's all bad because Tom Nook is like Biff from Back to the Future in that alternate reality 1980s.
Right.
I'm familiar with it with the parable of Biff Tannen.
Yeah, it's Tom Nook in a hot tub, and he owns the police, and Marty's got to find his way. You'd have to name your character Marty. There's no choice.
Yeah,
and
so
there's a little Animal Crossing style DeLorean.
You could name Marty with like 2 R's or like IE instead of Y, but that's it. It's got to be Marty of some form.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2 A's.
Oh, mighty.
I think we
Or
really
like,
got something here.
yeah. Or like 3 if you're playing a sheep. Come on, listen. It writes itself.
Mm-hmm.
One delay that I know no one really cares about is the Marvel's Avengers delay. Yeah, the 3 people
Yeah,
who care are probably upset, but the rest couldn't give a shit.
yeah.
So, when is it coming out now?
I think they said September.
you know how few people care about that. I don't think I've seen any news articles about it before you brought it up right now.
Yeah,
And you know what? No one is ever going to talk about it if they bring it out in September.
Oh my god, it's gonna
exactly.
die in the water.
Would anybody care about this being delayed, even if it was the only game that was announced to be delayed? Like, I don't think so, right? Would anybody really be bothered by this? I mean, some of it looks cool, but compared to everything else that's been announced to be delayed, that doesn't hold a candle to this shit. Cyberpunk, it's coming out in the same month as that. Dead Man Walk.
Thrown directly into the meat grinder. Like,
Yeah,
just give up.
who's playing Avengers over Cyberpunk in September?
I also don't understand the mindset of bringing out a game that is ostensibly a live game where they're going to want to sell you 1 billion Iron Man suits and, various looks for Thor
Yeah,
at the very end of a console cycle. Only bringing it out on X1 and PS4 as far as I know. Maybe it'll come to PS5 and Xbox, whatever we're calling it, Xbox eventually, but like, why would you bring out a live game on a basically dying platform?
My understanding, like, because people are talking about backwards compatibility with PS5, for example. So if the PS5 can play PS4 games, then it don't matter. It don't matter at all.
But
they
are
could
you going to
release it-
want to play Marvel's Avengers, a mediocre at best game to begin with, on your shiny PlayStation 5?
Yes, because the only game I can think of that is coming out for launch PS5 is Godfall, and
yeah.
it kind of looks like a PS4 game. So I think Marvel's Avengers might be okay.
I agree. If that means it's going to be a launch title for the PS5, then yeah, like everything's going to be so great. Oh, well, I mean, so great, but you know that early life cycle, like honeymoon period where you just want to play everything. I think if it moves into that, it'll do the game wonders. It'll do a lot of good for the business.
I mean, we're going to have Knack 3, clearly.
So in other words, Avengers would be completely buried either way.
Yeah.
Knack 3 at launch,
God, I hope so.
right?
They haven't announced it, but,
Yeah, it'll be a surprise release. And it'll be like,
Ooh.
PS5 is out, and also Knack 3, baby!
Seriously though, what is Knack? Yeah, what are these games?
They're like tech demos for whatever system they come out on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is... No one can tell me otherwise.
yeah. Knack was a 3D kind of platformer that was very mediocre, but Knack, the character, was made out of various tiny little building blocks that they could then break him up and turn him into a larger Knack in
Right.
visually impressive fashion with very mediocre gameplay.
Yeah, it's just showing off what you can do with the hardware.
Right.
Serves no other purpose. So we will definitely get a Knack 3 within a month of the PS5 coming out.
Not fooling anybody, Sony.
No.
So, Cyberpunk delay. Do you think the game is actually not finished, or are they spinning up enhanced versions for the new consoles?
I mean, they did say that there are no plans right now for the PS5
They
next
said
Xbox.
there are no
But
plans.
exactly, I was gonna say, like, do I necessarily believe that? No.
Here's my theory.
I just don't see how there could not be plans. Go ahead, James.
Um, The Witcher 3 is an amazing looking game that runs beautifully, but here's the thing about The Witcher 3. The engine that it uses is basically held together with duct tape and silly string. Essentially, if you hack into the PC version and you get around the character or out of first person view, or you go to a place where the character is not, the entire system completely dissolves. It's like the entire engine runs pinned to the protagonist and the player, and everything even like 2 rooms away from that person is a fucking lawless, non-physical, non-corporeal wasteland. My guess is that initial QI testing or whatever, QA testing of fucking Cyberpunk revealed that those strings are falling apart under duress.
That kind of, well, if that's the case, that kind of makes The Witcher more impressive to me, because I don't think I've played a game where the world felt as lived in. You know,
Yeah.
if you went from town to town, the NPCs you'd run into were doing what you would expect based on the time of day. And when you walked away, it was implied that they would continue doing that. So even if that didn't actually happen, it does an incredible job of simulating that.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of the Phantom Pain to a lesser extent, but
Go on.
well, just the same. Like if you were to roll up onto a base there and watch the guards that patrol outside, you see that they actually follow a schedule and they pack their things up at 6 o'clock and they go and they switch out and new guys come in and yeah, it's you feel like the world is very lived in. Now, of course, again, not to the extent that The Witcher is, because it feels like a world, whereas um, Phantom Pain it felt much more contained. But yeah, I see the similarities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're just taking some extra time to make sure that uh, banana sandwiches slapdash system they're almost certainly genning up for this game runs properly. And I don't like CD Projekt Red normally develops in third person, from what I understand, and so this like FPS view is probably presenting some challenges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be
Oh,
curious to see what the shooting actually feels like. It looks like it feels pretty good, but you can never tell.
yeah.
And yeah, you can never tell until you play Halo 4 and realize that, oh boy, 343 is not Bungie.
Yeah, I think it'll be, I don't know. I think if they focus on the RPG elements and the shooting suffers as a result, that would be fine, you know. And if they manage to strike that perfect balance, great. It's not something I'm genuinely expecting. On the other hand, if it's like very much a shooter and not as much of an RPG, I will be sad.
Yeah, it remains to be seen how deep those systems go, or if it's kind of, a Fallout 4 kind of system where there are various approaches, but it's all kind of funneling you back into the same outcomes.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're talking a big game anyway, and they definitely proved their stripes with The Witcher 3, so give them the benefit of the doubt for now.
Yeah.
And unsurprisingly, one of the head honchos over at CD Projekt Red confirmed that yes, indeed, despite the delay, people are going to have to work hard to get Cyberpunk 2077 ready for launch.
Wow.
To the surprise of absolutely no one, because I don't know. I'm feeling like, when they went to the moon, people probably weren't going home at 5.
Yeah, probably not, man.
Like, you want to do something impressive, it kind of takes hours, which is not great for worker health, worker sanity, but is kind of a reality.
Yeah, when they get their fucking 100+ Game of the Year awards, whatever it is, it'll all be worth it in the end.
Will it? I mean,
No,
is
it
that
won't.
something you could take to your therapist and be like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm taking a lot of drugs so I can sleep properly, but I also have
One
this tiny plaque.
100%. Yeah, you know those Take Two employees, those poor Take Two employees are still going to their therapists probably 2-3 times a week, I would say, after
Yeah.
after the Red Dead and GTA development cycles.
That was in the news either this week or last week too, that Take Two has been pressuring Rockstar to pick up the pace
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
out some
yeah.
more games.
Well,
Like,
it's crazy to think that in the early 2000s, we had 3 GTAs within the span of 3 years, right? We had three at Vice City and San Andreas come out. I'm pretty sure it was within 3 years of each other.
yeah, I mean, development was a little more simple back in the
Of
day when you
course.
could
Oh yeah,
just,
no, of course, no doubt.
slightly
But
recolor the potato that is the player character,
yeah,
and you have a new game.
yeah. And obviously things have changed. I mean, DLC has changed things for the better or worse, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, no, I wouldn't mind seeing games a bit more frequently. I wouldn't mind seeing table tennis too. I wouldn't mind seeing
Oh
Bully
my
too.
god.
Am I the only
Man,
one?
table tennis is such an underrated game.
Dude, super underrated. Super underrated. And Bully as well, man. Bully 2 is one that, like, I would take that first over the next GTA. I would love it if we got the next Bully.
Rockstar Table Tennis is actually the first game that ran on the engine that they now use.
Mm,
So I don't know
nice.
this for sure, but it seems like that was the test bed. They built this engine and they're like, let's make a game that we can
Yeah.
churn out pretty quick and see if this thing works.
And it was actually really good.
Yeah, I
Every
love that
player felt different. The physics were cool. The online was good. They had like a good tournament mode that I think like up to 50 people could join it and go at it, man. Table tennis was good. Table
game.
tennis 2 Rockstar, please.
And then what happened? Because GTA and Red Dead feel like hot garbage.
Do they? I mean, GTA. It's
Mechanically, I
funny.
don't think they're good at all.
Yeah. Well, I think Red Dead works for me, but going back to GTA now after playing Red Dead, it feels like it feels so foreign. It's weird, man. Yeah, I feel like GTA is super dated now.
I think it's important to remember that for GTA fans, especially, it was a matter of degrees of improvement. Like they were buying into this experience for the freedom, the ability to be awful human beings all day long, all night long. And GTA 5 was still an amazing improvement over the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
Like all
Yeah.
sorts of reviews
Yeah.
were just praising the driving and the flying and the shooting and all this other shit. It just felt so incredibly fucking good compared to the previous entries
Mm-hmm.
that like um it's easy to forget that like, oh yeah, all the rest of the video games industry was making so many more strides because they weren't making these murder sandboxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they do work remarkably well for how complicated the simulation is. My problem is that when you ride Arthur all the way across the map on a horse and you park your horse in the wrong horse parking spot, you fail a fucking mission. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
See, I don't think I ever saw that.
Oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
Drives me
How many-
absolutely nuts.
How many times has this happened to you, Paul?
It's constantly.
I swear to you.
But
I
not
don't
just
think I
that,
ever
it's
saw
like
it.
it's all over the place. The mechanical problems that I had with that game. I don't know if it was just my save had a problem with it or what, but it was
Yeah.
a nightmare to try to get through. I
Interesting.
still did because the story is really, really good.
Right.
But
Yeah, some of the best acting you'll see in video games.
Okay.
yeah, a couple other delays. I don't know if we want to go into that too much, but Dying Light 2 got pushed back to the future.
That kills me. That absolutely kills me. The first one was so good. The next one, map 4 times the size, team 4 times smaller than the original team. So it makes sense, right? Makes sense that the second one's delayed here, but man, this fucking kills me. I was excited to play it, you could say.
Okay. So you were excited to play it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'll come out sometime in the future, and I have no doubt that it's going to be pretty damn good.
I'd be
based on what
surprised if
I've
it was
seen.
this year, though. Delayed indefinitely doesn't sound good.
No, man, it's not indefinite. They just don't have a date.
Yeah, fair. Watch, it'll be like July, and I'll be happy again.
Yeah. All right.
Well, one thing we can look forward to, potentially, is a sequel to The Order 1886.
Did anyone want that?
Nope.
What is
Okay.
this game? What is this game? Was it a shooter?
In a way.
It was
In a
first
way.
person, right?
Yeah, it was kind of the first game to take on what I'm going to now call the new God of War perspective, the very
Okay.
close up over the shoulder perspective.
Yeah.
Amazing visuals at the time, but gameplay not its strong point unless you ask Sean Petraschuk, who loved the fuck out of that game and was the only person on the planet.
And good for him. Really running up that hill to defend it to the death if necessary. But don't. You don't have to. Nobody else is. It's fine.
I guess somebody internally at Sony was running up the hill to defend it, because maybe there's a sequel happening.
That's cool. I look forward to playing that. Never.
But they are bringing a fourth house to the now improperly named Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Well, it's like 3 houses and also these other fucking guys who aren't as important to the story, but some of them are probably pretty hot, so that's cool.
Yeah, the character designs look cool.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this White House? What's the deal? Did they announce like what the premise is, or there's just a fourth house being added? What's the deal?
Well, the White House is where the president lives in the United States, Rhett.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's all I got. I know nothing about this, so that's all I got.
Yeah.
So
everybody looks.
Is Trump in the game or not?
I'm gonna say no.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
What
gonna
the
guess.
fuck?
Gonna guess not. Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
I just had a vision of Donald Trump redesigned for a video game by the creators of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh, man.
Honestly, I bet they make him look like a god.
Yeah.
That's so
buff orange
distressing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't make Donald Trump fuckable. That's a war crime.
You,
Also,
sir, are circumventing the Geneva Convention right now.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
wrong.
Stop.
Also,
not
you
wrong.
physically can't make him fuckable. That's
No.
the other thing. You will melt your computers like fucking Laffy Taffy in the oven if you try that shit.
Yeah, but look at some of these motherfuckers from Final Fantasy VII that they made look
Yeah.
fuckable.
Yeah. They started from polygons, and now they have several thousand times more
Well,
polygons.
fucking
thereby
Trump
they
looks
look
like
better.
a walking polygon. I bet they could make it work.
Give
Listen,
him
you can't.
the President Shinra treatment.
Yeah, you can't unmelt a melted wax candle. Okay, that's not how this works.
Right.
Don't you tell me what I can't do with the might of the American military.
Oh, in that case, then you definitely can't unmelt a melted wax candle.
Turn it into glass, perhaps, but...
Oh, yeah, sure. Melt it further. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do we have anything to actually say about this fourth house in Fire Emblem? Is that just DLC?
Yeah, it's DLC. I'm going to play the fuck out of it. Everyone looks real hot. I'm excited, though I know nothing. There you go.
Yeah. I'm not ready to go back to Fire Emblem yet. I spent so
I
much
am.
time on my first playthrough. I'm not ready for it yet, but
Get
I'm
all
looking
up in
forward
that
to
shit.
playing it maybe later in the year.
Yeah.
It has a new game plus though, right? Like
Yeah.
you go through the
Oh
second
yeah.
time, it's not as hard, right?
Oh no, dude, your second run can be the easiest and the breeziest if you're so inclined.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest though, my first playthrough, I played it on the like just normal difficulty, whatever it was, but I played it with the permadeath on, but nobody died. Like I never felt like it was ever too difficult. Uh, I spent time leveling my team up, but yeah, I never felt like it was too difficult, so I wouldn't mind bumping it up for the next playthrough.
Ooh, hey.
They have that new difficulty in there too that they
Yep.
didn't have at launch, right?
Hmm. And probably the biggest news from the last little while is that despite bringing out a new console this year, Sony ain't going to E3.
Fuck it.
Fuck them.
Yeah, they're just never coming back. They're gonna do like Nintendo, and then just like it's like, we're not having a press conference.
Yeah, I think
It's
they're just
fine.
feeling cocky. They had a really strong generation here. They're just feeling cocky. They don't need it. They can do their own thing at this point.
Yeah, they definitely don't need it.
No,
Um, I'll be curious
but
to see
I
if
mean,
if they have a thing going on in LA that week. Are they going to
yeah,
do an EA or are they just right out and they'll do their own PlayStation experience thing on their own time
right.
and uh, send journalists to a press focused thing at some point to show off the new unit.
No, exactly. In 2020, who needs E3? Your game is going to do just fine if it's not at E3.
Yeah, I don't know who E3 is for at this point.
No, I mean, I think it's just for the people that have been going to it for so long, the people that have enjoyed it for so long. You know, it's. I think it's just kind of tradition at this point for these people. I've never been to one, so I don't know. Have you guys ever been?
It's at this point, I think it's more for the smaller developers who can
Mm,
actually use the event to
sure.
showcase their shit and get covers they ordinarily wouldn't.
Yeah.
Um, because then like, uh, if a game has a preview or whatever, that's fine. But if a game has a preview at E3, then 1,000 fucking organizations are gonna write about it, and suddenly they're getting blanket coverage all over the internet, and it's like, well, okay, you know what I mean? Like 30 or 40 or 50 English language publications that do a little 700 to 800 word write up about your tiny indie game that would never have gotten this press otherwise. It's just giants like Sony have kind of outgrown it, and that's totally fine. There's just leaves more space for the smaller projects that actually need the exposure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Something like Sayonara Wild Hearts, which won one of our E3 awards last year, probably got a huge head start from being at that event and being seen by people. Potentially culminating in it being on Apple Arcade and getting a whole bunch of Game of the Year nods for various things, style and music and all that stuff.
Yeah, because it was dope.
Very cool game. Play it if you haven't played it. Really cool.
Yep.
And the last thing I wanted to bring up in the news, because we did this in the other order today, is that Xbox's Matt Booty, who's the head of Xbox Game Studios or whatever they're calling it now, said that Xbox first-party games are going to continue to support Xbox One for at least a couple of years. I think this is a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I personally can't wait to get rid of my Xbox One. So I, I wouldn't. I would imagine a lot of people feel the same. They're ready for that new system, and I don't think
You
the
know,
Xbox One was very good.
if they were at schedule with the xCloud, they wouldn't need to do this shit. Because then anybody who doesn't bump up to the next generation to get that primo experience can just run some like second run titles and shit like that on the cloud or like on PC or whatever. You know what I mean? The idea that first party games are going to be plugged into the previous generation system for a few years suggests that all their like cloud-based plans and backup plans and B systems aren't getting the exposure or the fucking acceptance that they hope they would.
Yeah. I just don't think that stuff's ready. Nobody has the bandwidth for it. It's just not reliable enough. But I think the problem with this is if your game has to run on the new Xbox and the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S and the original Xbox One, you're fundamentally hamstringing the design of the game to make sure that it works on those platforms, not just graphically, but simulation-wise, physics-wise, design scope-wise. And I think that's a major, major mistake.
Well, I mean, PC games kind of do that already, where they have a wide range of operating settings.
Sure, but this is kind of the first time where graphical power is being matched with enough CPU horsepower that developers can absolutely 100% depend on being there, and they can design for that lowest common denominator. They don't have to think about whatever they have to think about with PC minimum system requirements or PC hard drives. They know that there's going to be an SSD in the PS5. They know that it's going to have X amount of CPU power, so they can design specifically for that. And that lifts a lot of restrictions that the Xbox version or the Xbox first-party games are going to have to take into account and potentially hold back a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, it's never too late to like back out of that. Like it's very possible that they'll try that with a couple first party games and be like, wait, this is fucking stupid, and then just stop. And that's fine.
Yeah. If it's for things that are specifically already in development, like Halo Infinite, that's fine. That's one thing to be cross-generational. It bothers me, though, that they revealed Hellblade 2 and it looked incredible. And now it has to come to Xbox One. So the scope of that game is inherently limited by the Xbox One.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's just Xbox has this rich, storied history of making incredibly dumb decisions and then like furiously backpedaling at the highest possible speed when the when it touches down or whatever. Like
Milo?
I can't remember the exact story, but there was some bullshit about like the Kinect caught a crazy amount of flack and they had to like do so much like complicated backpedaling just to like get out of the fucking hole they dug with that peripheral.
Yeah, fucking Milo. Do you remember that? Remember that fucking? He was supposed to be like the. He was supposed to be like the closest thing that they've had to like a virtual friend, where you could interact with him in the Kinect. You were fucking doing drawings and shit and showing it to the Kinect, and he was getting the drawings in the game. Peter Molyneux. It was his thing.
Oh
fucking joke.
It was basically Seaman.
yeah, exactly. It was a modern Seaman.
Oh no.
That's funny.
Nothing should be that.
I like Seaman.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a place
for the.
I bet, yeah,
for the records.
Fuck. God damn it! No, cut that. You can cut that out, right?
We will cut nothing, Rhett, and
I'm gonna soundbite that, and I'm just gonna, I don't know, like put it as the topic of a Slack.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Gonna go to team chat.
Don't put that in the group chat. Please don't put that in the group chat.
All right, I'll just put it on the internet more generally. That'll be better.
Perfect. I don't like Seaman. Okay, there's a video game with a character called Seaman. That's very mediocre, but
speaking of furious backpedaling.
Fuck's sakes.
Anyways, Who knows? It was kind of an offhand comment by Matt Booty. So
Yeah.
maybe that means they're internally going to have multiple teams for multiple Xboxes. I don't know. Who can say at this point? But in the context it came out, and they didn't do much to allay people's fears, it didn't sound great.
Fair enough.
But in the here and now, I know we've all been playing some games, and Rhett, you played one of the best games that potentially has ever been made, The Decay of Logos.
Yeah, man, I don't know if the PS4 and the PC version is better, but I played it on the Switch and it was easily the worst game I've ever played on the Switch, maybe the worst game I've ever played.
Yeah, it
It's the
received
kind of
the glowing score of 19.
yeah, it's the kind of game that makes you question why you're doing this in the first place, you know? It got a 19 because it's completely broken. A lot of
Okay.
the game relies on your companion. You have this elk that follows you around, but it doesn't follow you around. It's supposed to, but it doesn't. And then you have a button to call it to you, and there are puzzles involved where you need the companion, and when you call it, it just doesn't come to you. You can look it up online. It's a fucking problem that many people have dealt with, and yeah, it's like completely game breaking. You know, there's a puzzle in the first hour or two that you need your companion for, and no matter what you do, you can't get your companion to the pressure plate that it needs to stand on.
Huh.
And so yeah, things like that. Like it's broken in that sense, and then it's just so mediocre. Like I was saying last week that it was looking like a Breath of the Wild clone, or like a poor man's Breath of the Wild, but it's so much worse than that. It's Breath of the Wild, sort of in its look, but it plays like a Souls game. The worst Souls game you've ever played, though. You know, like
Okay.
it's
Okay.
the combat is completely uh just like completely I mean meaningless in the sense that there's no you don't really have to learn anything. All the enemies are coming at you and they're attacking you with one attack or two attacks, and they're doing the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, there are patterns in games, but the patterns in these games are just one thing over and over and over again. And like it's so monotonous. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's so monotonous and so mediocre, and so sluggish. You know, it runs like shit. The Switch, it's it's funny how so many of these games, so many of these ports that are on the Switch, the smaller screen when you're playing in handheld mode, the smaller screen tends to actually benefit games, and there's no exception here. Like when you're playing it in docked, you really see how bad the game looks on the system. You know,
Okay.
jagged
That's
edges. You know, everything just looks like it's kind of glued together. It looks like a paper mache world that's just kind of stuck together.
To me,
And
there's no excuse for that. We had
yeah,
mastered the ability for AI to vary patterns
yeah,
and do different things in the 16-bit era. Like you ever played Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, the AI can be pretty good even back then.
yeah.
So what's the excuse? And what's the excuse for it looking and running like such trash? I don't know.
No, exactly. And that's why I'm curious to see how it looks and runs on the beefier systems because
Yeah.
man, this Switch port is fucking trash. I mean, Metacritic doesn't do the game any favors. Like if you look on the PS4 or the PC Metacritic pages, they're well below 50s, you know. They're well below the fives. Um so yeah, the game it's been struggling out of the gate. I was actually reading about how the developers, when the game first launched, they actually sent out codes for the game that was like an incomplete version. So they, of course, they asked all of the reviewers to not review the versions of the game that they got, but so many of them did anyways, and that hurt the that hurt the game coming out of the gate. But I mean, we got the full version. I looked at the full version, and within an hour and a half, the game was broken. It wasn't working. I couldn't get my fucking companion to come 10 feet. So this game sucks.
I'm
It
sorry
pissed me
you
off.
endured that.
I said in the review that I was ready to throw the Switch out the window, and I wasn't lying. Like, I fucking hated this game. Man, it sucked.
All right.
Yeah.
James, was your game any better? Tokyo Mirage Sessions, #FE Turbo Extreme 2.9 Ultimate Remix?
It wasn't bad. I never played the original on the Wii U because it was on the Wii U and nobody had that system. But um, it's like it's a fucking Persona game or a Shin Megami Tensei game. It doesn't look like one right off the bat. Like you check the previews and you see the concept art and shit like that, and you're like, oh, cool. It's about like a team of fucking pop idols in Japan who fight monsters in dungeons. No, it's a Persona game, and when you set it to normal mode, that don't do that. Don't do that thing. Do a different thing. Turn it the fuck down so you don't get one-shotted by like hyper intelligent AI at like the second fucking boss. But you know, once I adjusted my playstyle accordingly after discovering the game's true nature, it wasn't bad. You know, it's got cool graphics and goofy powers, and the story is kind of heartfelt and fun, and the Persona combat system shines reasonably well in all the right places. Yeah, it's not bad.
All right, I'll take not bad after Rhett's sad experience.
Dude, Tokyo Mirage Session sounds like fucking heaven compared to Decay Logos. I would have played that shit all day long.
It's not broken at all. It's hard, but you know that's fine. You could figure his shit out, and all sorts of little extra things. There's like an EX story you can do in the Switch version, and it's pretty cool. You know,
yeah, cool. I've kind of been in a holding pattern because I'm waiting for our review code for Kentucky Route Zero, the TV edition.
Oh yeah.
Which, if you haven't heard of that, it's a episodic story-based game where they started bringing out episodes in 2013, and they are just now getting around to releasing episode 5 and complete the story. And yeah, I've been waiting for episode 5 for quite a while, but it's a pretty cool game. So looking forward to checking that out from the comfort of a couch. In the meantime,
how long are these episodes?
They're variable, but not that long. Not that long. Yeah.
So what's the deal with the seemingly agonizing wait time between episodes?
That is a fantastic question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Tiny team, that's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mechanically not anything too crazy. So, I don't know. Maybe they just like to spread it out.
Yeah.
Or it's a side project. I don't know. Haven't looked into it. But in the meantime, I've been playing a bunch of old games. And by old, I mean things that maybe came out last year or the year before. And I played some more Days Gone.
All right.
Love it. How good is it, eh? How good is it being back in that world?
Hey, I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't feel bad at all about it being on our best games of 2019 list.
I wish that I held off and played the inevitable PS5 version. We've talked about this, and the game is going to benefit so much from the hardware, from the like improved loading times, the new hardware they're talking about. That's really the big problem with the game right now, that it struggles to keep up, and I think that was the purpose behind it, or the idea behind it, was that they were just kind of building a game that was future proofed for this system, that they could that they could release the definitive edition on the PS5 and go that route. And I'm what I'm getting at is that I wish I almost held off for that. I'm sure it's going to come, and I wish I held off for that, because I'm sure it's going to be so much better. And I don't know if I've got another playthrough in me, but that's a good game, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're playing it again.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think they didn't do themselves any favors in the way they structured the story off the hop. The first several hours of that game come off as really generic.
Yes, I totally agree. And that's a common complaint online I was seeing when I was playing
And I
that
could
game.
see if you started just playing this game casually, you got 5 hours in, you're like, well, fuck, it's one of these.
Yeah,
But the farther you go, the more character, the more heart it has. You run into some great characters. Some of the environments are stunning, even when they're not running perfectly. And the Freaker Horde stuff is really cool. If you're interested in going out of your way to come up with new solutions for the mob and do interesting things to get rid of them, it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a good
yeah.
game. It's a good
I thought,
game.
I thought some of the weather effects looked as good as Red Dead, like the snow when the
Hell yeah.
snowstorms would kick up. Man, it looked so fucking good.
Yeah, and I think the motorcycle riding is kind of the glue that holds that thing together.
It's really
Um,
fun. Yeah, it's really
it
fun to
is the
rip around the
mechanics,
land.
the physical
To
mechanics. It's got a lot of weight. It's
yeah,
it's fun.
yeah. Upgrading the bike is a good time. And yeah, we were talking about how the start of the game is slow. For sure, it is. It definitely is super generic, but like you were saying, great characters. I was gonna say that when you get to Iron Mike, no spoilers, but when you get to Iron Mike, I
Yeah,
feel like the story really starts to pick up. And yeah, yeah, no regrets putting that on the top 10.
yeah. And yeah, outside of that, I played some City Skylines because that is a game that can absolutely eat your life if you let it. It's the best SimCity game ever made.
I was gonna say this came out fairly recently, didn't it? In the past
It
year,
came
couple years.
out a few years back.
Oh,
I started playing it after I had to review Rival Cities game, Cities Extra Extra Large,
oh,
which is a piece of trash and a rehash of their previous titles. But City Skylines is yeah, like I said, it's the best city building game that's ever been made. There's a ton of expansions, a ton of Steam Workshop support for, putting your favorite football stadiums or whatever you like into your city, or
mm,
various building design packs. The world's kind of your oyster for building whatever map you want, whatever city you want. And it's really mechanically deep if you want to go there. It's outstanding if you like any kind of real time builders. City Skylines is definitely my recommendation. It is so awesome.
All right.
Anybody else play anything else? Anybody touch
Um,
Dragon Ball Kakarot?
fuck no. God.
yeah, not me, not me.
Yeah. Played that thing
I've
at an
heard.
event one time, and it's a Dragon Ball game and not
I've
the
heard.
fighters variety.
Yeah, no, not the good one. I've heard that the it's a terrible game, but a good Dragon Ball experience, which is confusing because it sort of seems like the same Dragon Ball experience that it's been for like 15 years. I just don't. I don't see where the fucking evolution is mechanically. But some people have had a reasonably good time with it, and some people think it's a giant fucking mistake and a huge waste of resources.
Yeah, I don't know how they came to this is the game we need to make when, Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2 just came out recently, and it had all those Dragon Ball Z moments in those two.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's just kind of a button mashing, fly around this open world kind of thing. If you want to do that and just experience those famous Dragon Ball moments, you can do that. It's serviceable.
Yeah. No, I have been playing Wizardry Labyrinth of Lost Souls, which is itself a PC port of like a 10-year-old PS3 PSP game, which is itself a remake of an ancient ass RPG that was the major inspiration for Etrian Odyssey.
Hmm.
It's the most bare bones, back to basics fucking RPG I've played in years. Your stats that you assign to your fresh character you create determine the class they can choose, and like you can choose their alignment, and that as well impacts what class they can be. And which party members they'll travel with, and when a character dies, there's like a 50-50 shot that bringing them back destroys the body and turns into dust, so you have to make a new character.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's a tough little RPG that like is a dungeon crawler in the most literal, most like retro sense of the word. And I love it. It's there's something so soothing about like slowly filling out a map and just doing little quests and gaining little levels and fighting little battles, and to get the little like the Japanese anime style of voice work for the various character templates and the fun little character portraits. But like there's a couple modern touches, but like mostly this is just a massive throwback to a time that I'm not even sure I was around to playing video games for. It's so goddamn old.
That's cool. What are you playing this on?
PC.
Cool.
Yeah, the original version of this version was on PS3, and then before that it was like a fucking ancient PC game, or like a NES or a Super NES game. It's like, oh damn, this one goes way back.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's it. That and but before that it was just Pokemon forever. Pokemon till the sun burns out. Gonna buy the expansion pass. Pokemon until I fucking die.
Yeah, Pokemon Breath of the Wild for me as well. My girlfriend got me Breath of the Wild for Christmas, so I've been playing that for the first time. Holy shit, that game is good.
Pokemon and Breath of the Wild?
Exactly. I've been jumping between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the detail in Breath of the Wild is crazy. The animation, I didn't realize that, like, it's crazy when you're, like, let's say you hop up in the air and then you get caught with an explosion and you go flying and you're rolling down the side of a cliff, and, like, everything just is so well animated. And the quality, man, that game is good. That is a good game.
The physics engine is so robust and so multifaceted that you can still find new GIFs and videos online of people doing amazing physical feats with Breath of the Wild. Like, people are still finding new things to fucking do with it.
Yeah, I believe it. It's deep. It's very deep.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a pretty cool game. It's maybe like the best game Nintendo's ever made, maybe?
Yeah.
It's the highest rated Switch game right now.
Not surprising.
Not surprising, yeah. And what else was I going to say, though? I've been trying to get into Control as well, but, oh, man, I've been struggling.
Really?
Control, just, yeah. I don't know. Of course, the narrative is amazing. Like, they do such a good job with that. But I don't know. It just feels very mediocre. And I haven't put much time into it, but it just feels very mundane. I've seen it before, It's just a shooter with almost like Uncharted-like physics, Yeah, I don't know. But now, I really haven't gotten like any of the powers yet or anything. So
okay.
I'm not very far at all, but I'm struggling. I'm struggling to get through the opening.
Yeah.
I physically can't play it until I get a better system to play it on. So
well, at least it looks and runs pretty well on the PS4. That's nice.
PS4 Pro.
Yeah, exactly.
Pro, not the PS4. It is actually unplayable on PS4.
Really?
Still?
Yeah. I fired it up a few weeks ago. It was no go. No bueno.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they said they fixed it.
Well, like, maybe I was just at a rough point or a bad patch, but it was like it ran with like this crazy chop, and I was just like, yeah, I don't think this is getting better. So I shelved it for a future date. Maybe if it comes out with some more patches in the interim, I'll give it I'll fire it up again, update it, see how it runs then, try to get the lay of the land. But the last time I tried it, it ran slow enough that I knew, like, in the thing I was doing where it was just like basic combat, I was like, oh man, if I start fucking with the environment and experimenting with physics, this game is gonna seize up like a fucking car engine full of well, not oil, obviously. Also, it'd run better, but yeah.
Full of the spikes and broken glass from your bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full of my stab you bed components.
Yeah. The other thing I've been doing a lot of, because I do love me a good speed run, is watching a lot of the VODs of games done quick.
Oh fuck yeah!
You
They're
guys
killing it.
speedrun fans?
Oh yeah,
I'm becoming one slowly.
yeah, for sure.
Man, there are some good fucking speedruns in AGDQ this year.
You know, it might be bad karma, but I like a lot of speedrun cringe. I don't know if y'all ever looked that up, but there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Go on.
I don't know. There's just videos. There's many compilations that you can find. Um, yeah, I mean, it's no secret that some speedrunners tend to be a little socially awkward, and it lends itself well to hilarious moments, cringy moments, and you can look them up. I recommend uh, speedrun cringe. Just put that in your Google machines, and uh, you know that could easily be your Friday night.
Damn. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
And watch that in a healthy balance with such incredible things as the guy beating the Super Metroid Impossible ROM hack.
Oh fuck! I was just gonna mention that one.
It's so good.
Holy shit!
God
They
damn.
basically made the hardest possible version of Super Metroid that you could possibly do, where like death spikes all over the place and like all sorts of things. It was like, oh, 2 hits and you're doomed, and the guy does it without like it took some like 2 hours or something, and he just peels through the entire game. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it has such ridiculous requirements as like beating the area where you need the Varia suit before you get the Varia suit. Which is basically impossible because you go into those areas and your health starts ticking down.
Yeah, so you get like a timer of about 10 to 15 seconds at most before you like get to the next door and get out of there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, having to clear impossible jumps and weird mazes and ultra tough enemies and stuff. It's a great speed run.
At the beginning of the run, the guys, they were asking like, so how many people are up on the leaderboard? And he was like, there's like one other guy.
Me and one other guy have ever beaten it.
Yeah. It's completely unreal.
Never mind in a speedrun setting. That's crazy. But yeah, if you're
now, what's not cringy, I was gonna say, is games done quick breaking the $25 million mark for total donations raised throughout their history. That's cool. Yeah.
So if you're at all interested in speedrunning and or would like to donate some money to prevent or support cancer research, definitely watch some awesome games done quick and donate to Prevent Cancer, who is their sponsor for AGDQ. And the one they do in the summer, it's to support Doctors Without Borders, so also a very good cause. Definitely check it out if you like seeing people do crazy things very fast and maybe be cringy.
Yeah. If there's a game that you love and remember spending hours and hours getting through, I promise there's a speedrun video that will absolutely pummel you into the ground with shame over how effortlessly they've mastered it.
What would your guys' speedrun game be? Mine, I would say, would be Metal Gear Solid 2. I think I could run through that game pretty quickly. I've beaten it many times. I know the patterns. I could run through that game quick. What about you guys?
I could probably learn how to do A Link to the Past in like an hour, couple hours.
That'd be fun.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd maybe say like Super Mario World.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can beat that game in, I think it's 18 minutes.
Yeah, maybe like I think in an hour and a half, I think you can do Mario World in.
No, Super Mario World, you can do it in 18 minutes. You
Yeah.
go, you run through the Star Worlds, boom, boom, boom. It's crazy. My buddy in high school showed me how to do it. I didn't believe him, and sure enough, it's like you get to Bowser within 6 or 7 levels.
You got to sacrifice several Yoshis to get there,
Yeah,
and it's totally worth it.
yeah.
They knew what they signed on for.
Oh yeah, fuck 'em.
I don't.
Blue Yoshi,
I don't think they
yellow
actually know.
Yoshi, red Yoshi, purple Yoshi.
Have they ever
No.
established if Yoshi is sentient?
You can play as him in several games, so I have to assume he is, which
yeah.
is distressing. Also, he talks in Mario RPG, so.
Oh, that's
a good
true.
point.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's actually super depressing.
God, this is literally murder.
Yeah, a lot of it too, like a distressing amount, but it's
Hey,
cool.
I mean, it's fine. Mario had to do his booty duty. He had to get Princess Peach back.
It's cool. Mario's realm is a hell world where death is no escape and you're doomed to an eternity of suffering and torment. So,
Plus, is he really knocking boots with Peach? I don't think he is. I think he just kind of does what she wants, right? He's just kind of there to take care of her bidding.
Oh, he's definitely holding the purse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah. Like, I think Mario's a virgin, is what I'm getting.
Can virgins grow mustaches like that? I don't know.
Well, fair enough.
well, he's like 25 or something, allegedly.
No.
25?
Really?
Look it up, man. Mario's age, canonically, according to the most recent Nintendo fucking.
That was in the first game.
Yeah, but he's not.
No, he's
older.
been aging. He's been aging. In Odyssey, he was actually 62.
Yeah, he's not. He's not.
He looks good, but he was 62. Yeah.
To be fair, 25 years old in the scale of Japanese protagonists might as well be middle age.
Right.
Yeah. That's like 8 years more than most Japanese protagonists in video games. That's like half a lifetime.
If you're hitting your mid-teens, you're ready to save at least one world.
Yeah.
Anything you guys are looking forward to in the next while? It's kind of a dead zone for games.
Animal Crossing next month will be cool. Or not next month.
March,
yeah, sorry.
Doom Eternal.
Doom
Also in
Eternal's
March?
coming. Yep, definitely.
Yep.
I feel like something else is cool. I'll look up the releases really quick.
Dreams is coming out next month.
Right.
Does that include the PSVR version?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just one version.
Right? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
But yeah, that after we talked about it either last time or the time before, started looking up some of the things that people are building in this thing, and it is insane. This game has the potential to become the next entry-level game engine. It's that good.
Yeah,
it looks crazy.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what sort of insane shit people make once it comes up for realsies. Besides just making amazing still images of realistic looking breakfast, or reproducing Metal Gear Solid, or making a Star Wars game. just a whole Star Wars game.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do you. If you've got the energy and the time to make Metal Gear Solid with lightsabers, I hope you do that. Truly, I do.
All day. I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy shit. It'll be like people, you want that new game that doesn't exist and is never happening? We're going to make it in dreams, File the serial numbers off and fucking put it out in the world.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I got to go download it before it comes out of early access or they juice the price for a release. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
well.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That'll be cool.
Ooh, yeah.
That's coming out early March.
It is.
Looking forward to
Yep.
that. Should be
Yep.
absolutely gorgeous. The first one was, and I imagine the second one will even be more so.
Mm.
And MLB The Show 20, also coming out in March. Looking forward to that. It's cool that they announced that MLB The Show specifically is going to be coming to other consoles other than the PlayStation. Finally, first time in its history, I believe, right?
What kind of bizarro world are we living in where, like, Microsoft properties are coming out on the Switch, Sony's making games for the Xbox? How did we get here so quickly? I'm glad we're here, but it's crazy.
With a sports game, that's a no-brainer. If you're not releasing on every single console that you can be, other than something like the Switch, with something like MLB, where it's such a simulation heavy game that like it strives for realism. When you start developing that game, or at least spending resources on developing the game for the lesser system, i.e. the Switch,
Yeah.
it takes away from the main version, right? So I don't think that games like that should necessarily be developed for the weaker systems. But yeah, with a game like with the show, it's a no-brainer that it should be coming out on Xbox, PC if it can, fucking Stadia, whatever, everything. Maybe not Stadia, because obviously baseball, you need split-second decision making and timing, and Stadia is possibly, it is the worst system for that sort of gameplay right now.
Oh, imagine trying to hit a nasty curveball.
Right? Yeah,
Stadia.
like
it's not possible.
It would be unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But looking forward to it.
So definitely some stuff to look forward to. We'll maybe play through some backlog stuff in the meantime, and reconvene in a couple weeks to talk about that stuff.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Death Stranding I will have completed by the end of January. That's my goal.
All right, dude. Looking forward to talking about it.
It's a lofty goal.
Yeah.
All right.
See.
Right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here at Press X the Podcast from Press X the Podcast headquarters in beautiful Canada, the Great White North. That's us. It's been Paul, James, and Rhett from COG Connected. We're very glad that you joined us on this ride and listened along. So thanks very much for listening. We will see you back here in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you then.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye-bye.